Hey, thanks for coming out today. First, I'd like to acknowledge members of the City Council here, President Missy Mosby, Vice President Jonathan Weaver, and Anna Hargis from the 3rd Ward. We appreciate their being here today. During the State of the City speech, I committed to the city that we would make a major infrastructure investment as we believe we have underinvested in the infrastructure for many years. So to be clear, what we're about to talk about this morning all comes after municipal moves. Municipal moves, if you will recall, is the name of our infrastructure plan. Also, during the State of the City speech, I talked about the need for taking care of the facilities that have served our community well, in addition to developing attractive assets that we think should continue to enhance the quality of life in Evansville. To grow our city, quality of life is essential not only for economic development, but it should be a priority for all of us in the city. Here today, we have an update on what we are dubbing as Build for Evansville, our comprehensive effort that will move projects forward that have been at a stalemate for some time. Since February, this effort has been led by my Chief of Staff, Steve Schaefer, and he's laid the groundwork for Build for Evansville. I have visited an area indoor swimming pool. I have toured and met with numerous groups interested in Mesker Park Amphitheater, and I walked the former Robert Stadium site, and I've met with zoo officials about their long-term plans. I believe we are ready to get to work and plan as our administration is exploring public-private partnership fundings on a parallel path. I'd like to talk about each of these 4 projects. First, we'll start with Mesker Amphitheater, right over here to the left. Originally, it was our intent to form a task force that would be composed of stakeholders and other individuals who have an interest in Mesker. But because of the huge response from the community, we've asked Leadership Evansville to instead facilitate a thoughtful dialogue that will ensure everyone's voice will be heard. So, to that end, in June, there will be 3 public meetings that will be held at Mesker Park Amphitheater. Participants will be free to tour the facility prior to joining the discussion. We want everyone to see firsthand what the condition of the facility is like. Again, following the tours, Leadership Evansville will conduct a visioning session with attendees asking a series of questions about the future of the facility. My personal desire is to reopen Mesker as a performing arts venue, so the meeting will center around that premise that the facility would be open and will have a future. We'll explore what citizens want to experience in a performing arts facility and what their expectations of music acts and additional feedback on how to make that happen. This information will be gathered and presented to the administration and to the City Council for review. At that time, costs will be determined and a final proposal will be developed. But let me be clear. The city will re-engage the public before any final action is taken. So next door, we have Mesker Park Zoo. What a city asset. What a true regional asset. It's hard to believe that Amazonia will be 8 years old this July, but it will, and thankfully the crowds keep coming. Soon we'll break ground on the Engelbrecht family carousel, and we're still raising funds in the private sector to complete the Budgie Aviary. The carousel and aviary will be constructed near the paddle boat docks and will include party rooms. And last week, after a meeting with Zoo Director Amos Morris, we know it's very important to finish the fundraising on the aviary before starting on the next big ticket attraction. And that attraction, as we lined out in the State of the City speech, is a new South American penguin exhibit. This exhibit will highlight a South American neotropical penguin that can handle our local climate. So the exhibit will have be outdoor and have a holding facility. I'm very excited about this. I think any parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle will be excited about this. I know my grandsons in Arizona love penguins. My 16-year-old niece in Chicago loves penguins. I have no doubt that this will be a crowd pleaser for the entire tri-state. It's no surprise that this project is all about fundraising. Amos and his staff have an amazing vision that's all about preserving and improving one of our region's best assets. Identifying and securing financial partners will be a collective effort between the Zoological Society and the administration. On the north side, it's clear that the lone indoor pool in the city must be replaced. Thousands of young people depend on this 40-year-old pool annually, and I think we all know that the pool's best days have long passed some time ago. The last major investment there was a couple of years ago when we installed a new liner there, and it's probably the last liner that can be put into that pool given the age of the facility and the topography of that site. The city, however, cannot build this facility, a new facility alone, but we will be a partner in building a replacement facility. We've had discussions with numerous interested parties, and now is the time to develop a stakeholder group to gather options and develop a viable plan for the future. In the coming weeks, Steve will contact those stakeholders for an initial meeting and then start the process to deliver a project that provides a usable and competitive facility that will serve interests of our swimming community. Finally, Roberts Park. Almost 2 years ago, land use experts and the public were clear about the best use for that site, and that's to turn it into green space. In the past few weeks, we've met with the designers to update the plans based on input from the public, taking into consideration trees that have already been planted and the running path that will be built from the brand new pedestrian bridge from the expressway. We want to capitalize on the $100,000 contribution from the Rotary Club of Evansville, so phase one of the multi-year plan will include the water feature and wetland. As we move forward, the plans may evolve as space and design elements fluctuate when we put them on paper. However, the final phase plan will go back to the Parks Board for review and feedback. The benefit of a phased development is that the park is being built, the opportunities for additional funding partners will increase as visible progress takes place. I've said this many times, but we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to connect green space from Morgan Avenue to the north to Lincoln Avenue to the south, and I'm excited about the prospect of continuing the development of Roberts Park. As you can see from the visuals behind me, the Build for Evansville initiative will utilize social media to inform the public and create an avenue for feedback. If you're using Facebook, the former Roberts Park page has been converted into Build for Evansville. For Twitter, the handle @Build4EVV will be used with hashtags for each of the 4 projects. Just to be clear, we are in the planning stages of these, so of each of these 4 projects. We're not committing to spending money today, but we do believe that it's imperative that we start the planning process now, so when we have the funding in place, which we anticipate to be sometime in the time frame of 2018, we have plans ready to execute. I can't stress that enough. This is not about going out and spending money today, but it is about planning for the future and building 4 projects that really enhance the quality of life for not only our city, but for our region. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Well, I guess starting with Mesker, of course we've heard before, sounded like it would be a very expensive project. If I remember right, in the area of 11, maybe 15 million, something like that.
I think 9 million was the low end from the.
So obviously, financing and fundraising would be a big part of that.
Well, I think we want to be clear, John. We want to hear from the public about what they expect in a facility, and if the expectations are different, when we go to put together a plan, it may be less.
And as you say, you're planning to hold these meetings actually at the.
I think it's important that people see the condition of the facility. I've been out there several times with folks that think, oh, we can get a group together over a series of weekends and do some service work and it's all going to be spruced up. It's a bigger project than that, and we want to make sure that people understand that.
And it sounds like you want to get the public involved in all these discussions.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, these are about building and enhancing the quality of life, and we're building these so we can do that. So the entire city and our region can benefit. So we want public input.
You also mentioned that there are quite a few people that you've talked to, possible developers. Is there anything, in the early stages of again, financing or?
Well, if you look at, we'll just go across the room here, the pool. We've had multiple discussions over the last 4 years with people who have an interest in swimming. No one's written any checks yet, but we've gone out and looked at the pool at Castle to understand what is there, and we think we have a good handle on what the needs of the Evansville High School swimming teams are. So that's why we're going to put together a group of stakeholders to figure out what we need. When we figure that out, we'll figure out what kind of budget would be involved. So that's long term. We anticipate that based on the feedback we've gotten from others in the community, that there will be private contributions that will go to this. And we anticipate there will be other partners involved in putting this project together. Roberts Park, we have a design. We were really satisfied with the design. It will fluctuate somewhat. We do believe it's important that we want to take advantage of the generosity of the Rotary Club of Evansville. We have the $100,000, and we want to, I think in the initial phase, that was in phases 2 and 3, so we would move that up to phase 1. And again, I think once people start to see progress there, the likelihood of additional contributions and partnerships will increase. We've had people who've reached out to us and expressed interest in partnering with the playground equipment. We know that on the other side of the expressway, there's interest in assisting with the dog park, so we anticipate good activity there. The zoo is about fundraising. They have the plan. The Zoological Society has done a phenomenal job of fundraising for the Engelbrecht Family Carousel. So they'll finish fundraising for the aviary that partners with the carousel, and then the next big project is the penguin exhibit. As for Mesker, we don't know what kind of partnerships are out there, but I think it's important for people to go out there and look at the facility. I think it's important for people to express what their expectations are.
One other quick question.
Sure.
Bill for Evansville, and I see hashtags there and such. Are you trying to reach perhaps a younger resident?
Social, as I think you all know, we really believe in the power of social media. We think it helps us interact with the community, whether you're 15 or 55.
One other quick thing.
John, you only paid for 2 questions today.
I'm sorry. I'm
just kidding.
I hate to hog the event.
Everyone else is still napping, so you're okay.
Yeah, I'm barely awake myself. The redevelopment commission this morning, I believe there was some action taken on sort of refinance on the Ford Center. Can you tell us a little bit about what?
Just briefly, we have an opportunity to refinance the bonds at the Ford Center. We'll save an estimated $23 million over 20 years. That would begin in the year 2020, I believe. 2020, I think is the right year.
20 million over 23 years.
20 million over 23 years, sorry.
Is that out of the downtown TIF, excuse me, or food and beverage?
Well, it's just refinancing the bonds.
Right, so it's saving 3 million we're paying from TIF.
We pay the bonds we use Riverboat and TIF and food and beverage right now. So the combination will change slightly, but the overall savings is the sort of the key.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for coming in so early.